Hi everyone. Welcome back to Stories by the Window. Have you ever looked around and felt like everyone else was moving forward except you? That's how Olivia felt. At 25, she thought she would be doing big things. But instead, she felt stuck. She was lost and unsure about her future. Her life looked fine on the outside. She had a stable job, a small apartment, and a few friends who checked in from time to time. But inside, she felt like she was just watching her life go by. She used to have big dreams. She wanted to be a writer, travel the world, and create something that would outlive her. Instead, her days were full of spreadsheets, late night scrolling, and a constant voice in her head whispering, "It's too late. You're not good enough." Every morning, she woke up tired before the day even began. It wasn't just physical exhaustion. It was the weight of years of unfulfilled dreams pressing down on her shoulders. She would sit on her bed, scrolling through social media, watching others chase their passions while she remained stuck in the same place. But one rainy afternoon changed everything. Olivia was walking home from work. She was upset because it was raining hard, and she had forgotten her umbrella. She ran to the nearest bus stop to stay dry. There, she saw an old man sitting alone. His clothes were wet, but he had a calm smile on his face. "You don't like the rain, do you?" he asked kindly. Olivia let out a half laugh. "I do like it, but rainy days feel a little heavy sometimes." He nodded, looking up at the gray sky. "You know, I used to feel the same. But rain is just water falling. It's what we carry inside that makes it feel heavy." Something about his calmness intrigued her. They started talking, and Olivia found herself telling him how she felt stuck in life, like she was always waiting for the right time to start. He listened quietly, then said, "Do you know what changed my life? A single step. Just one. I told myself, if I can do one small thing today, no matter how tiny, I'm moving forward. I never stopped taking those small steps. That's how I built my business, traveled the world, and met people I never thought I would meet. One step at a time." Olivia didn't know why, but his words hit her like lightning. One step. Just one. Maybe that was all she needed to start. The next morning, Olivia woke up feeling the same familiar weight. But this time, she decided to do one small thing. Not everything. Not a grand plan. Just one thing. She opened her old notebook, the one where she once scribbled short stories years ago. Her hands trembled slightly as she wrote a single sentence. "It was raining when I decided to change my life." It wasn't perfect. It wasn't even good. But it was a step. For the first time in months, she smiled as she left for work. The following day, Olivia said to herself, "Just write one paragraph." She did. The day after that, she said, "Just write for 5 minutes." She did. The more she focused on these tiny steps, the more they began to add up. By the second week, she had written 5 pages. It wasn't a masterpiece, but it was something real. Something she could hold. And it wasn't just writing. She started applying the one small step rule to everything. Instead of forcing herself to work out for an hour, she started with 10 minutes of stretching. Instead of trying to change her entire diet overnight, she swapped her morning coffee pastry with a bowl of fruit. Each small step gave her a sense of progress she hadn't felt in years. Of course, it wasn't always easy. In the third week, Olivia felt stuck. She came home from work one night, exhausted, and stared at her blank page. "What's the point?" she said. The old voice in her head came back, telling her she was wasting her time. She didn't write that night, or the next. By day 3, she felt the familiar frustration creeping back. That's when she remembered the old man's words, "Just one step. Even if it's small." So, she picked up her pen and wrote one word. Just one. Then she wrote another. She didn't try to write a full story. Just one sentence, one small idea. It was enough to help her start again. 2 months passed, and Olivia barely recognized herself. She had written over 50 pages of a short story collection. More than that, she felt alive again. She started waking up earlier to write for 20 minutes before work. She even began exploring her city on weekends, visiting coffee shops and parks for inspiration. Her friends noticed the change. "You seem happier," one of them said during brunch. "I think I am," Olivia replied with a small smile. "I'm finally doing something that matters to me." One evening, while browsing online, Olivia stumbled upon a local writing competition. The deadline was in 2 weeks. Her first instinct was to dismiss it. "I'm not ready. I'm not good enough." But then she remembered her rule: one step. She whispered to herself, "Okay, the step today is just to try." She submitted one of her stories, not expecting much. 2 weeks later, she got an email. She almost deleted it, thinking it was a rejection. But when she opened it, her breath caught. "Congratulations! Your story has been selected for publication in our annual anthology." She stared at the screen, stunned. It wasn't a dream. One small step, one sentence on a rainy morning, had brought her here. Months later, Olivia visited the same bus stop where she had met the old man, but he wasn't there. She wanted to thank him, to tell him that his advice had changed her life. Instead, she whispered it to the wind, "You were right. One small step really can change everything." She looked up at the sky. She smiled at the rain. Olivia's story isn't about grand gestures or overnight success. It's about the power of starting small. Too often, we wait for the perfect time, the perfect plan, or the perfect version of ourselves before we start. But the truth is, perfection never comes. Progress begins with one small, imperfect step. And sometimes, that's all it takes to build a life that feels alive. Thank you for listening to Olivia's story. We hope it helped you learn English and feel inspired. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories. Keep going, be kind to yourself, and see you again soon on Stories by the Window.